Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Today I'm going to be playing around with plaster of Paris in resin and stone dust in resin. Now stone dust is a byproduct they collect from when they cut stones, from when they make gravel, from when they make paving. They collect the dust and they sell it in huge great sacks. Well, I only wanted a small amount obviously with resin. So I managed to find some in wicks that was 20 kilograms, still a lot, but it was affordable, so I bought that and tried it. Now there is bound to be plenty of colours out there. The one I bought was really dark, so it's more of a black. But yeah, let's have a play around and see what comes out of this. So to start with, I'm just showing you that I'm mixing the resin completely. I'm using Uber Vista Cascade for this one. It's a medium depth pour resin, which is perfect. And as usual, I'm pouring part B first and then part A because A is thicker and it will mix better if you pour it on top of the thin hardener. So it's a ratio of 2:1 by weight, so you need a good pair of scales to measure it out. And then it's time to mix it for 3 minutes. So after 3 minutes of mixing, I'm going to divide it up into 2 smaller cups as well, and I'm going to add some colour into the 2 smaller ones. And I actually decided to add some white in the top one as well. So these are the colours I'm using and I will put the links in the description below. These are purchased from Amazon and I got them in a set. And so that I can get a stone-like effect, I'm using ivory grey and black. There's only about 50 ml in each of these cups, if that, so I don't need a lot of powder to make the colour that I want. And it's just to enhance the main body colour, as I don't want it all one colour. So as usual, I've sped up a lot of this for you and cut out all the dead space. It's just so it's easy for you to watch. Now I'm going to be using plaster of Paris in this. Again, links will be in the description, but I didn't quite realise how plaster of Paris goes everywhere. So I end up by putting about 4 teaspoons in each of the small pots and about 6 to 8 in the big one. Now I really should have used more plaster of Paris, but I didn't want to push it too much, so I didn't want it to overheat. So I used the bare minimum really. So I decided to put some white pigment in the top one, which is just the plaster of Paris, because I thought it would be a lot whiter in colour and it came out quite greeny grey. So I figured that I'd add some white to make it a lighter colour. Now what I decided to do was add all 3 colours into the jug, so you've got a mottled effect before I pour it into the mould. I was hoping it would work and it actually turned out really well, so I'm pleased with what it did. So I'm just pouring it straight into the mould and really letting it do its own thing. And I'm absolutely covered in dust and it's everywhere. Now at this point I did realise it has got a lot of bubbles, so I used the isopropanol alcohol, but I kept coming back over time and still squirting it, trying to get those bubbles to disappear. But it kind of formed a foam on the back, like it was quite weird. So I tried the Jesmonite method of banging it up and down on the ground to try and get rid of the bubbles or to bring them to the surface. I don't know if that worked, but it was fun and it was definitely worth a try. So 24 hours later and it's time to demold. Now I didn't put this in the pressure pot. I deliberately didn't put it in the pressure pot because I wanted to see how it would react not being in the pressure pot, because a lot of people don't have a pressure pot. And I'm so excited to find out what it's like. So at this point I am over the moon. In my opinion it looks like stone and I love it. I love the mould, how shiny it is, it's just brilliant. However, it did have a lot of bubbles on the back, so I took it to the garage and I put it on my sanding machine and I took it right the way down. I then buffed it up a bit to give it a dull shine, if you see what I mean. And now for the stone dust. This stone dust is extremely heavy. I struggled with a 20 kilogram bag from Wicks to get it in and out of the boot of my car. I poured it into this box because I knew that if I opened the packet it would just go everywhere, and there isn't enough room in that box for the whole bag. Now, stone dust is a little bit like glitter. I found out that it goes everywhere. It's not a powder so much as a grit. So I used the big jug thinking that I wouldn't be able to get all the grit out of the silicone jug, and I was right. It took a little bit of cleaning up as well afterwards. It's really like glitter. That's the only way I can describe it. It goes everywhere. You know what glitter's like. So my thinking was that I would keep adding it until I got to a consistency where there wasn't any runny resin that you could see. It was all taken up by the stone. Now I am going to put this in the pressure pot because I was thinking that stone would more likely trap bubbles inside it, much more likely than powder. So I thought it's got to go in the pressure pot really. But if you try it and you don't use a pressure pot, let me know. So the consistency now is really thick, and I'm thinking it will actually go down to the bottom and not create any bubbles on the outside, if you see what I mean. So I got a lolly stick and I was just pushing it down into the corners to make sure there was no hidden bubbles there. It kind of looks like thick cement, doesn't it? Really, really thick cement. Again, bang in the mould like jesmonite, like you would with jesmonite, because I'm trying to get rid of any bubbles that might be in there. I don't know if that did any good, but you know, it's worth a try. Now I had loads left over. Obviously the volume of the stone dust increases the amount you have. Now it didn't with the dust so much, but it did with the stone because it doesn't absorb the liquid. It adds to it. So I decided to use the flower pot mould from previous video and put it in there. Okay, 24 hours later and I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what this is like. And I was just blown away from how beautiful it is. And you can't see on camera how stone-like it is. It looks like a carved stone. I was just blown away by it. Beautiful. I did take it to garage and sand the back like I did the previous one to try and get it to the same size because I want to compare the weight of each of them to see the difference. Just trying to show you the mottled stone-like effect in this. It's difficult with a video. It's difficult to try and show you. So now I'm going to demould the vase that I now know by looking on the outside that has collapsed in the middle. So yeah, a little bit of work trying to get it out, but you've got to do it, haven't you? Oh, it's a learning curve. I've learned that stone dust is extremely heavy and it will collapse moulds. If they're hollow, it will collapse them. So the moment of truth, which weighs more? Which is more stone-like? I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is, but the scales will tell you. So the plaster of Paris is 196 grams. And the stone dust is almost double that at 387.9 grams. It's heavy. Let's talk about the failure first, the vase. Now I don't know if you can see in there that it's completely distorted, and that was because the weight of the stone was too heavy for the mould that was quite flimsy. Now it did occur to me afterwards, once I've demoulded this and saw what happened, that you could put something in the centre of the mould centre, if you see what I mean, to keep it from collapsing, like plaster of Paris or resin or even a glass bottle that would hold it in its shape while you cast something heavy like stone dust. And then that wouldn't happen. Now the two bust moulds are absolutely gorgeous. I love this bust mould. It's stunning. It's so shiny as well. The plaster of Paris, I love the mottled effect on there. It really does look like stone. And I love that. The stone dust, gorgeous and so heavy. I feel like it's a piece of stone that's been carved and sanded to a high quality. It is stunning. This stone dust is lovely. And I had to buy a 20-kilo bag, so I've got lots to play with in the future. I was thinking about plant pots, you know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it's given you some insight into plaster of Paris and stone dust. If you want to come back and see me next week, I'm here again. You never know what I'm going to be up to. A thumbs up is appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so, please. It does help my channel out. Thanks very much. I'm going to put some stills up at the end. Have a great week and bye for now.